Imagine stepping onto a cruise ship and skipping every hassle the crowd goes through. No endless lines, no chaos at boarding, no rushing for dinner before your meds kick in. The crew handles everything quietly, and you don't pay a cent extra. Sounds too good to be true? These perks are real. Just hidden in plain sight, tucked behind policies most passengers never notice. Cruise lines won't advertise them because every waived fee and free service cuts into their profits. But the moment you know what to ask for and how to say it, your entire experience changes. This isn't about tricks or loopholes. It's about traveling smarter with the confidence of someone who's earned it. And once you learn these phrases, the exact words that turn a polite request into a quiet yes, you'll never board the same way again. So let's start with the first hidden privilege every senior cruiser should know. The first myth to toss overboard is that priority boarding is only for wheelchair users. If you're 65 or older and long walkways wear you out, crowds make balance tricky, or you're hauling bags that don't roll as smoothly as they did 10 years ago, you can request boarding assistance. No drama, no side-eye. Think of it as a comfort lane, not a special favor. The magic happens before embarkation. When you book or in the weeks leading up to sail day, tell the cruise line you need mobility assistance. If you walk fine but distance and stairs are the real issue, say you need ambulatory assistance. That one detail signals the team to stage help where it matters. A calmer check-in area, an escort through the bottlenecks, and a smoother path to your cabin so you start your trip with energy, not exhaustion. On the day, look for the staffers shepherding assisted guests. A friendly, confident ask goes a long way. Hi there, I'm a senior traveler and I requested ambulatory assistance for boarding. Could you point me to the right queue? You're not asking to be treated like you can't travel. You're asking to travel well. And once you're in that assisted flow, the whole first hour of your cruise feels different. Less shoving luggage through crowds, more taking a breath and actually noticing the ship you paid to enjoy. That same principle, clear need, simple request, opens doors all over the ship. In the next section, we'll use it to unlock room service without the surprise fee, especially when your meal timing has to match your meds. You've probably seen that little fine print in the cruise app. Room service delivery, $7.95 per order. Most passengers shrug and pay it, thinking it's a luxury fee. But for seniors, that charge can disappear, quietly, if you phrase the request the right way. Let's say you take blood pressure pills with food every morning, or you're diabetic and can't delay meals. That's not a preference, it's a health requirement. And every major cruise line, from Royal Caribbean to Princess, has a policy for medical or mobility accommodations that includes complimentary room service. They just don't post it publicly, because if everyone knew, they'd lose thousands of dollars a week. Here's how to make it work. Call room service or the guest services desk and say, "Hi, I have senior dietary requirements tied to my medication schedule. I'd like to understand what room service accommodations might be available." That sentence does all the heavy lifting. You're not begging for a favor, you're giving them a valid medical reason, which triggers a different protocol in their system. And once it's approved, you'll often notice little perks appear automatically. Breakfast arriving right when you need it, no delivery charge on your statement, and staff who quietly remember your order pattern the next day. It's subtle, but life-changing when you don't have to fight the buffet crowd at 7 a.m. just to take your meds on time. And that's the theme here. These aren't freebies, they're hidden rights that make your cruise healthier, calmer, and more human. The next one? It solves a headache every cruiser knows. Trying to book the good dinner hour without setting an alarm at midnight. Every cruiser knows the struggle. One minute you're relaxed on deck, the next you're sprinting through hallways because your dining slot is at 8:15 and your meds or appetite clocks say nope. What most people don't realize is that every major cruise line quietly keeps a block of early dinner tables open for seniors who request them. They just never advertise it, because if they did, the reservation system would crash in an hour. On Royal Caribbean, for instance, guests over 65 can request early seating around 5 p.m. with a quieter corner table closer to the service area. Carnival does something similar for passengers who need medication-timed meals. Princess Cruises even has a senior sailing option that locks in your preferred dining hour if you ask before embarkation. The secret is the word accommodations. When you contact guest services, say something like, "I'd like to request senior dining accommodations for passengers over 65. That phrase signals the system to search a different category of tables, the ones held back for accessibility or medical needs. And when it works, dinner stops feeling like a competitive sport. You're not racing families to the buffet or hovering by the hostess stand. You're shown to a table that fits your rhythm, where conversation lasts and you actually taste the meal. It's a small request that transforms the whole evening vibe. You'll finish dinner just in time to catch the sunset on deck without feeling rushed or skipped over. And once you've mastered that, there's an even better trick waiting on shore. Because the moment your ship docks, another set of hidden perks kicks in. Priority shore excursions for seniors, completely free if you know how to ask. The morning your ship anchors off the coast, everyone suddenly turns into marathon runners, lining up for tender boats, squeezing onto buses, elbowing for front seats on the tour coach. But if you're over 65, you don't have to race anyone. You just have to ask the right way. Cruise lines already have a quiet policy called shore excursion accommodations. It's designed for travelers who may need more time, gentler pacing, or a guaranteed seat closer to the guide. They simply never announce it because there aren't enough spots for everyone. Let's paint the scene. You're on a Mediterranean cruise. The day's stop is Santorini, beautiful but steep, packed, and hot. When you booked, you could have told guest services, "I'd like to request shore excursion accommodations due to senior mobility considerations." That one line gets you a totally different experience. Boarding the tour bus first so you can pick a comfortable seat, having a guide who allows longer rest breaks, and sometimes even an escort if the terrain is tricky. The best part is that this isn't charity. It's part of maritime accessibility law. The cruise line can't refuse reasonable accommodations once you declare your need. Most guests who try it once say it completely changed how they saw shore days. Instead of feeling rushed or worrying about keeping up, they finally got to enjoy where they were. And that same principle, asking for comfort, not special treatment, can work back on the ship too. Because yes, under the right circumstances, seniors can get free cabin upgrades, and it happens more often than you'd think. Here's a secret most cruisers don't believe until they try it. Free cabin upgrades for seniors are absolutely possible. Not because of luck or charm, but because of something called reasonable accommodation. Let's say you step into your cabin on embarkation day and something feels off. The bed's too high, the shower has no grab bar, the cabin's tucked so far down the hallway it feels like a morning hike just to reach breakfast. Most people sigh and live with it, but if you're 65 or older, you don't have to. Walk down to guest services, smile, and say, "I'm finding this cabin a bit difficult because of mobility and comfort concerns. Is there another room that might be safer or easier to access?" That's it. No drama, no demanding tone, just a clear statement of need. What usually happens next? The front desk checks availability for accessible or low-deck cabins. Sometimes you'll be offered a room closer to the elevator, near the medical center, or even with a balcony, at no extra charge if it fits your accessibility category. A small mindset shift makes all the difference. Crew members are trained to read tone. Guests who complain get polite apologies, but those who speak calmly and explain clearly usually get results. One retired couple told me their accidental upgrade happened on day one of a Caribbean cruise. They mentioned that the shower lip was too high, and the staff moved them to a balcony cabin designed for limited mobility. The total cost, $0, just 5 minutes of kindness and clarity. That's the real secret, asking like someone who respects their time, not someone demanding a favor. And if that sounds good, wait till you hear about the shortcut that gets you into specialty restaurants, those fancy steak and seafood spots, without paying the usual fees. You've probably walked past those elegant steak and seafood restaurants on board. The ones where dinner smells amazing, but the cover charge makes you keep walking. Here's what most passengers don't know. Seniors can sometimes eat there for free. And no, it's not about sneaking in or sweet-talking the matred. It's about knowing when your story matters more than your wallet. Cruise lines have quiet policies that allow complimentary specialty dining for guests with specific dietary or medical needs, or when they're celebrating major life milestones. They just never tell you about it. Let's say you're on a princess or celebrity cruise, and you mention this at guest services. We're marking our 50th anniversary this week, and would love to know if the ship offers any special dining experiences for the occasion. That phrase, dining accommodations, is a golden key. You're not asking for a handout, you're describing a milestone that qualifies under their special occasion guest care policy. Many ships have unlisted vouchers for moments like this, often valid for one free meal at a specialty venue. The same goes for health-related reasons. If you're on a low-sodium diet, have trouble chewing certain foods, or take medication at strict times, they're obligated to provide alternatives, and sometimes that means serving you in a quieter restaurant where the staff can prepare meals to order. I once met a couple who casually mentioned it was their first cruise since recovering from surgery. The staff quietly handed them a complimentary dinner at the Italian restaurant that night to celebrate being back at sea, the hostess said. That's how this world works. No ads, no coupons, just human empathy wrapped in policy. And that same empathy stretches into the ship's medical center too. Because if you're over 65, you might qualify for free or discounted health checkups right on board, something the cruise line will never put in your welcome brochure. Let's talk about the one place on the ship most passengers hope they never visit, the medical center. It's quiet, tucked away, and expensive, unless you know the hidden rules. Cruise lines rarely say this out loud, but passengers over 65 often qualify for free or discounted basic health checks. Think blood pressure readings, glucose tests, or quick medication consults. Why? Because preventing an emergency at sea is far cheaper for the cruise line than airlifting someone later. This is how it usually works in real life. On embarkation day, stop by guest services or the medical desk and say, "I'm traveling as a senior guest and would like to check whether there are any complimentary or reduced fee medical services for passengers over 65. That one polite question can unlock small but valuable perks. A quick vitals check without charge, a discounted consultation fee, or faster emergency assistance later in the trip because you're already in their system. I once met a couple from Arizona who cruised every winter. The husband mentioned his blood pressure meds to the ship's nurse during embarkation, and she offered a free daily pressure check each morning before breakfast. That 5-minute routine gave them peace of mind the whole voyage, and no surprise medical bills. Worth knowing, if you carry travel or international health insurance, mention it when you ask. Cruise lines sometimes waive small fees to avoid the hassle of processing claims. It's not just about saving money, it's about traveling with confidence, knowing someone on board is keeping an eye out for you. After all those health checkups, you deserve a little serenity, and not the kind that costs $99 a day. Many cruise lines quietly allow seniors to access spa lounges, thermal suites, or quiet relaxation zones for free or at a deep discount, especially when it's for health-related reasons. They don't promote this because those areas are usually reserved for paying VIP guests. But if you mention joint pain, mobility limits, or the need for a calm space to rest, the staff often open that door, literally. Picture this. You walk into the spa on a sea day when the ship feels packed. You say, "As a senior traveler, I'd like to know if there are any special accommodations for accessing relaxation areas due to my health needs." You're not asking for luxury, you're asking for wellness. And that difference matters. One woman I met on a celebrity cruise mentioned she used the thermal suite to ease her arthritis. The attendant quietly waved her in, free of charge. For the rest of the week, she spent an hour each morning in warm hydrotherapy pools with zero crowds, her favorite part of the trip. Insider tip, the word accommodations again does the magic here. It signals that your request is tied to comfort and health, not just a desire for perks. You might get complimentary access for one session, a 50% discount for the week, or priority use of quiet zones during peak hours. Either way, it's worth asking. Because when the ship feels too loud, finding a corner of peace is worth more than any free cocktail. And if your clothes pile up after all that spa time, don't worry. Some cruise lines quietly give seniors free or discounted laundry service, especially on longer voyages. No one boards a cruise dreaming about doing laundry. But by day 5, reality hits. Sunscreen stains, humid air, and that one t-shirt you swore you packed twice has gone missing. Here's the good news. If you're over 65, you might never have to touch the ship's laundry form again. Many premium cruise lines, like Cunard, Viking, and Oceania, quietly offer free or discounted laundry for senior guests, especially those traveling on longer itineraries or with medical or mobility needs. It's not printed anywhere, because laundry is a big moneymaker. But if you walk to guest services and say, "I'm over 65 and sometimes need extra help with laundry. Is there any accommodation or service for that?" They'll usually find a way to help. Whether that means a free laundry bag each week, discounted pressing, or faster turnaround service. One gentleman I met on a transatlantic crossing mentioned that he had to change shirts more often due to a skin condition. The staff quietly noted his name and told him, "Don't worry, sir. We'll take care of your laundry." By day 2, his clean clothes were folded on his bed with a note that said, "Complimentary service provided." If your cruise lasts more than a week, simply mention that you need to wash clothes often because of the weather or comfort reasons. It sounds practical, not demanding, and that small honesty usually gets a yes. Because really, the only thing better than fresh sea air is fresh laundry you didn't have to do yourself. And while we're on the topic of making life easier, technology can be another unexpected hurdle on cruises today. But even there, seniors get hidden help most passengers don't know exists. Cruise ships today feel more like floating tech hubs. Everything runs through an app: dining times, excursion bookings, even your room key. But for many senior travelers, that can feel less like a convenience and more like homework at sea. What most people don't know is that every major cruise line quietly offers free tech assistance for older guests. You just have to ask. If you're not sure how to use the ship's app, connect to Wi-Fi, or view your onboard account, stop by guest services or the internet desk and say, "I'm over 65 and not too familiar with the ship's app. Could someone help me get the Wi-Fi working?" Within minutes, someone will walk you through how to check your schedule, message your cabin steward, or even stream a movie without paying extra data fees. Some ships, like Holland America and Princess, even hold informal tech help hours where staff guide seniors through their devices one-on-one. No charge, no rush. One couple I met admitted they were nervous about using the app to manage dinner reservations. A crew member sat with them for 10 minutes, showed them the trick, and later surprised them with a small Wi-Fi voucher so they could message their grandkids. They said it was their favorite moment of the trip. If you mention that you need Wi-Fi to stay in touch with family or your doctor, many ships will quietly discount or even comp a small data package. It's not about policy, it's about goodwill. Because for cruise lines, keeping you connected isn't just customer service, it's peace of mind. And once you've mastered the onboard perks, there's one more secret waiting at the end of your cruise. A discount most people never hear about, reserved for seniors who simply ask before disembarking. By the time your cruise is winding down, most people are busy packing or searching for lost flip-flops. What most passengers don't realize is that the best senior perk of all appears right before you disembark. Cruise lines quietly run something called future cruise accommodations. It's not the loyalty program you've heard about. It's a behind-the-desk deal that often gives seniors up to 30% off their next voyage, plus early access to repositioning cruises. Those long, beautiful sailings that move ships between continents for a fraction of the normal price. The trick? You have to ask before you leave the ship. When you stop by guest services or the future cruise desk, say something like, "Hi, I'm 65 and sailing with you this week. I wanted to check what accommodations or discounts might be available for senior travelers booking a future cruise." That one sentence can open a floodgate of perks, faster loyalty upgrades, double referral credits if you bring another couple your age, or exclusive senior rate offers that never appear online. One gentleman from Florida told me he used that exact phrase and got a $600 credit toward his next cruise just because he'd requested mobility assistance earlier in the week. The staff told him, "We love when guests like you come back." The key isn't to demand, it's to inform, calmly, clearly, and kindly. The crew hear complaints all day, but they remember the guest who speaks with grace and gratitude. That's the person they go the extra mile for. And once you know how to ask, from free room service to future cruise discounts, every trip becomes smoother, kinder, and far more rewarding than you ever thought possible. Now you know the truth. Cruise lines don't hide senior perks out of malice. They just don't advertise what cuts into their profits. But every one of these benefits exists for a reason: to make travel safer, smoother, and more comfortable for guests who've earned the right to enjoy it without stress. From priority boarding to free room service, from quiet spa mornings to secret discounts for your next voyage, all it takes is asking the right way. And that's what I love most about this community of seasoned cruisers. You don't need gimmicks or special status. You just need information, a little confidence, and the right words. So now it's your turn. Which of these hidden perks surprised you the most? Have you ever asked for a senior accommodation on a cruise before, or maybe been turned down? Share your story below. Your experience could make another traveler's journey 10 times easier. If this video helped you uncover something new, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Quick Cruise Tips, and share it with someone who's planning their next voyage. Because cruising smart isn't about spending more, it's about knowing more. Until next time, may your next sailing be calmer, cozier, and a little more yours. See you on board.